Adams. I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up. I'd like to show you this card today. It uses touches of texture. This is one of those big sets that come in 2 stamp cases. I have managed to squish it into one. Touches of Texture doesn't have any greetings on it. For this card you can use any greeting. I chose Another Wonderful Year, another one that's also 2 sets, and I'm using Thank You. But this card could be useful for many events. I'm using the Garden Impressions Designer Series paper. This is one of those sets, if you get it in July, that if you buy 3 packs of selected Designer Series paper, you get a 4th set free. This has beautiful designs on it. It has florals and then kind of abstracts. I chose my colors from the Designer Series paper. This is Mango Melody for my card base, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. I have a piece of Whisper White that's 5 1/4 by 4 for the inside. A piece of Shimmery White, because we are going to be doing a lot of watercoloring on it. The Shimmery White holds up pretty well, and my Designer Series paper is just 2 inches wide and 5.5 inches. So I have Melon Mambo and Mango Melody inks, and I will also be using the Jet Black StazOn. As I said, I'm going to be doing some watercoloring. So I'm going to put some adhesive. You can use glue dots or adhesive of your choice. We're just adhering this temporarily. I have filled both my spritzer and my aqua painter with alcohol. You can use either alcohol or water for this. I want to saturate my paper. And I probably should have squeezed my ink into my cases before I saturated it. I want to squeeze this. I'm finding the new cases you have to squeeze extra hard to get your ink. That might be a good thing. So I'm going to give an extra spritz. And I'm using my aqua painter to pick up some of that ink, and I'm swirling it at a diagonal. Whoops. And I want to brush off that extra ink either on a tissue or on a piece of scratch paper. A little more Melon Mambo. And another spritz just to make sure that this gets, just to make sure this is able to flow. And I'm going to put this aside to dry. It will take a while to dry. You can hurry it up a little bit with your heat tool, but with the alcohol, I don't really recommend that. While that's drying, I'm going to work on the inside. I'm going to stamp this flower cluster in StazOn ink. I like to keep this plastic cover on it to seal the StazOn. The StazOn does dry quickly, and so you don't want it to dry out. Stamping this flower cluster in the bottom left. And I'm going to stamp my little bee. And I want to stamp my bee on the card front as well. And so for placement, I'm putting this Designer Series paper here. I think that the Whisper White paper is just fine for this amount of water and this amount of coloring. Just little bits here. We're We're going to color in the bee body. And we're going to use the Old Olive watercolor pencil just to quickly color in these leaves. I am not trying to get a perfect coloring job on these. I just want to get some color. And I'll use the aqua painter to spread that color around. Front has too much Mango Melody, so we're going to actually use our watercolor pencils, and we're going to color the wings white with the white watercolor pencil. And we can use either the aqua painter, or in this case I'm using the clear Wink of Stella on the bee just to sparkle it up a little bit. And that also turns that watercolor pencil into watercolor. And we'll go ahead and put this on the inside. So pretty. And once your watercolor paper is dry, you can stamp your thank you or your other greeting on it. I want to bring a little bit more pattern into this card. And so I am going to use, I'm going to stamp this big splatter in Mango Melody. And I'm going on both the card base and this layer, this watercolor layer. And then there's this pattern that I'm going to stamp in the corner here. We'll put the Designer Series paper here. And I want to leave a little bit of a border here on the left side. We would add this with dimensionals, and I designed this card to be an easy card that didn't need a lot of extra tools, and it certainly looks lovely like this. But I do want to use a little bit more texture. I'm using the Subtle Embossing folder. This folder is so subtle you probably won't even see the pattern in the catalog. I didn't. So if you were going to do this step, you will need your Big Shot and the Big Shot platform. The Subtle folder is one of those big 6x6, and it is the dynamic folder. And so I'm going to put the cardstock inside, and I'm going to put the fold toward the roller, not toward the side. With these 6-inch folders, it can get a little bit off and damage that fold on your folder. Covering it with a clear plate and rolling it through. And I have no idea if that pattern shows up at all on here. I think it might. Stampin' Up used to sell plain and textured paper. Now we can make our own. Love it. And so now I just want to add some dimensionals on the back. And we want to raise this up a little bit from where we stamped it so that this is more cohesive. And that's it. I think this is very pretty with just that little touch of sparkle. If you would like the directions for this card, come on over to bevadams.com. I'll have the direct link right here on the video, and also down below in the YouTube description below. I will also have a link to all the products that I used. Talk to you soon. Bye.